Young babies looking for food, starvation, the recipe, people subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day and every clue. Don't let it go, it's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 rows to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the brink. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather, I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double, but nature gets the shit in a way that's subtle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TV's whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war.
Yes, y'all. Today is the 6th of November. The time is 9:37 a.m. Central European Time, and that will make it 3:37 Eastern Standard Time, USA. What's up, everybody? What's up to the East Coast? What's up to the West Coast? What's up to the Middle Coast, the North, and the South? I'm back at it again, and today's stream is actually called Corrupt Politicians and the Elite Are Scared Shitless of the American People Waking Up and Finding Out How Much of their tax dollars don't go to benefit their immediate lives or their communities at all. And that's real talk, you know. And the thing about it is that, you know, the media plays a big role in this because the media doesn't often they don't share with the American public much about the outside world, man. When you watch legacy media, you would almost think nobody lives in fucking Canada. You would think no one lives anywhere else. It's almost like they don't want you to know the quality of life. They only want you to believe what propagandists believe, and that could be propagandists on the left or the right. But how do you squash that, your own propagandists, by not seeing what other people think, by not seeing how other people live? You see what I mean? And I think the legacy media really feeds a lot into that. I think that's where they get corporate. I think that's where the money comes in. And because, of course, for you to get the raw end of the stick on your own tax dollars, for you to have the experience that you're on, which is uniquely American now, for the Western world, it's uniquely American. For you to, at best, be in a situation where 50% of your tax dollars, that is every single hour you work, you're paying money out of your pocket in taxes, right? 50% at best is going to something that positively and immediately impacts your own life. Now, you would think that's normal if that's how it's always been for you, right? If you were born in a trash can, you would think a trash can is a goddamn, is a penthouse apartment. Who? If no one told you, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you be fine with that, right? Well, the reality is that that's not normal in the West. 50% is not normal in the West. Actually, it goes up. Soon as you leave the United States, every other Western nation, the people, when they pay taxes, a higher percentage of the taxes they pay. I'm not talking about how much they pay in taxes, and I ain't talking about how much you pay in taxes, right? I'm talking about what percentage of what you pay goes to directly affect your life in a positive way, in a way you can feel it positively. And it immediately, that number goes up. It goes up to 60. It goes up to 65. It goes up to 70, and it goes up to highest 75. And that's as soon as you leave the U.S. And then when you say, okay, well, wow, you do it like that, because some people would try to fool you and say, yeah, but you want us to pay more taxes. No. I'm talking about the percentage of what you already pay. Why doesn't it go to you? Why is it only half of what you pay? Why is only half of that going to you? Do you know where the other half is going? Right? And why is it when you leave the U.S., no matter what people pay, even if they pay more of a percentage is going to them? You see how that works? So look, if I knew 75% of my taxes was going to affect my personal life in a positive way, childcare, education, healthcare, boom, bap, all these different and more things knocked out the bag. If I knew that was happening, right? Another example is when I have a child, I get a year off from work and still get paid my full salary. How about another thing? How about every year I get 5 weeks vacation? If I knew all of this shit was a part of the deal, why would I care if I pay more in taxes when I'm getting more, when the taxes that I'm paying, a higher percentage of it is going to me anyway? That's like me paying my goddamn self. You see what I'm saying? And the question is that who are the U.S. taxpayers actually paying when they pay taxes? I mean, I think Americans really, when they home in on this tax thing, don't home in on party so much, because the party politics can get very partisan. And that's a division space where corporate media and where corporations like to get in and manipulate. They have a little room, a space for access. But I think when you go right up the middle and you talk about what the fuck do I get from my taxes, when you go right up the middle and you say, it's me, it's our money that's running this big machine. Without our money, this big machine can't exist. It's our money this big machine was built with. Right? It's my money. I think and I need more from it. Right? I think if American people go up that alley, they will solve a whole lot. They won't get so confused about who's behind any scamming. You see what I mean? There's no room for the partisan shit. If a Republican says, hey, we want to lower taxes, the question would be, yeah, but how much of the taxes I pay is going to me? How much? What's the percentage? Is it going to be 50? Is it going to be 60? Is it going to be 70? How much is going to me in my community? Right? I think you kind of avoid a whole lot of the other magical conversations that trick people, when you look at the details. But in any case, folks, they're not liking the results, and I think CNN is very lukewarm on the results. Fox News ain't lukewarm. They're like, God damn, run, it's a fire. Fox News is like, hell no. No. We got a communist. We got a Marxist. We're worried. People are going to move out of New York. Oh, my God. And don't think CNN is balancing it out on the left. They're not coming back saying, hell no. How much of your money is going to your communities? How much of the taxes are going to help your life? They're not saying that. They're not countering it. They're just kind of like lukewarm, like, not really sure. Is Mondani okay? Or is he, this is corporate media, y'all. You got to ask yourself a question. Did they get a tax break? Did they get their money already? Does legacy media want the government to shut down? Do they want a renegotiation on that big, beautiful bill? Do you think legacy media wants that? I don't know. You tell me. You tell me what you think, because I don't think legacy media wants it at all, or at least they don't seem too happy about it. Now, I'm not saying their role should be defending either. Their role, legacy media's role, should only be the news, right? But as you could see, legacy media in the U.S., it's pretty much always biased to some degree, right? And I would say biased against the taxpayer, biased against the people. And I think that ultimately results in where the U.S. is today, with a lot of terrible things taking place, where you have the arrogance of a president that's like, I know this is your money. I know you paid out this money, but in hard times, fuck your money. I'm keeping it anyway. In hard times where you might need this money that you already paid in taxes, fuck you. I think it takes a certain amount of culpability from others in powerful places, including the media, to even get an arrogance like that out of a president, or out of an administration. I think that's not just right wing. That's pretty much unpatriotic. Trump is pretty much unpatriotic. He does not love and treat the American people who pay his salary kindly, with love and respect. We know this administration doesn't do that. See, I wouldn't have so much of an issue about left or right if everybody already agreed that no matter what you believe, you still have to treat all Americans with love and respect, right? No matter what you believe, you see, but that's not what's going on right now. What's going on right now is you're allowed to treat people with hatred, even though they're countrymen, citizens, family members probably fought in the War of Independence, Civil War, all kinds of wars for the country. Probably got loads of family members who've died for the country, and yet there's a possibility their descendants could be treated like shit. That's not supposed to happen. That's not supposed to happen by any party, by any media outlet in the United States of America whatsoever. That's just not supposed to be reality. And for a lot of people, that is not reality at all. But when we're talking about the U.S., that's definitely reality. That's toxic. So let's just give an example here. Let's see here. Where's Sean?
I have friends of mine.
Oh, and by the way, Sean Hannity, he's like I think he's a first generation. Let me see something here. I always have to do this to qualify something, because I've been on this little thing where I wanted to show you that all these right wingers, you would think some of them come from 1776, and a lot of them don't. A lot of them just came just one generation. Cash Patel, he's a right winger. He's real frustrated with America. Only been there how long? Sean Hannity's another one. Is Sean Hannity an immigrant? Let me see here. I know he's not an immigrant. I believe it's his parents. He's an Irish immigrant. His parents were immigrants. So that would make him what? First generation American, basically. And let me see here. Sean Hannity is the guy on the left, right? But he's a big Fox News proponent. Let me see here. Right. His family background is Irish. Both of his parents were of Irish descent, but they were also born in the United States. Okay. It says his parents were born. So Sean Hannity. Okay. So let me see here. How many generations? I mean, since you're going to be out there calling people illegal immigrants and immigrants and all of this shit, I mean, you may as well check everybody's shit out, right? We may as well qualify everybody, right? That's how I look at it anyway. Let me see here. It says he's a third generation Irish American. So his grandparents on both sides migrated to the United States. Okay, so his grandparents migrated. His parents were born, and now, so he's the second, you could say second generation, maybe third, depending on how you see that, right? In all nations, they don't call second and third the same exact thing, just so you know. So now, let's just listen to Sean Hannity for a second.
In New York, my phone is blowing up. They're
talking about, you know, the election and how it's going to end the world. The United States is finished. You know, it's going to burn in, you know, toxic fumes, and it's going to explode a nuclear bomb. Because why? Because Mandani has been elected. That's why.
Officially depressed and scared. And as Martha pointed out earlier, a full 9% of people say that they will leave if he in fact got elected. I'm literally in tears. I'm having a hard time keeping a straight face. One is a meme of the Statue of Liberty, you know, sitting down.
I'm sorry. Click the like button, y'all, while we listen to this nonsense here. Let me bring it back.
And as Martha pointed out earlier, a full 9% of people say that they will leave if
Okay, 9% of people say they will leave if what?
If he in fact got elected.
If he gets elected. So he's been elected now. So get the fuck out, 9%. Hurry up. You got money to move? You must be living high off the hog. Get the hell out now. Bye. Beat it. Okay? Beat it. Beat it, 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 beat it. Nobody's begging you to stay. Okay. Some people actually, their grandparents and great grandparents and great 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 grandparents are from there, and they can't even fucking afford really any place anymore because of assholes and greedy people in New York. So you got the money to move. You don't want to stay there just because somebody got elected and you don't like their race or you don't like their religion or you don't like their politic. Oh, wow, you must be real lucky then, because, damn, it's a whole lot of people that don't even have nothing and had to deal with all kinds of people's fucking politics year after year after year after year. But you're the type that can just pack up and leave, so fucking leave.
I'm literally in tears. I'm having a hard time keeping it straight.
Look at that. He's in tears. Okay, but we know that's bullshit anyway. But he doesn't care about it anyway. He's just a talking head, you know.
He in fact got elected. I'm literally in tears. I'm having a
look at this dude. Isn't this the guy Ron DeSantis? How many times Ron DeSantis has been played?
Hard time keeping a straight face. One is a meme of the Statue of Liberty, you know, sitting down, smoking a cigarette. F it. I'm going to move to Florida. The other one has a picture of Mamdani, and it says, Realtor of the Year in the state of Florida.
Now look at this. Just look at this. Let's look at the smiles. Look at Mamdani's smile. He seems happy. He doesn't seem too negative or, about he seems pretty optimistic, you know, and friendly. The guy in the middle, a little just kind of like not as happy and not as friendly. I would say that he doesn't look mean, you know, but not as happy and not as friendly. And then Cuomo, his smile just looks like, damn, you need to slam the door in his face. Like, what do you want, man? Keep your kids away from him. Keep everything. I mean, this guy just sucks. This guy sucks. And look at this. He got 41%. This guy got all the women who he ever worked with. Damn, why are you trying to date the women you work with, dude? Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that might happen in some cases, but this is not a case of that might happen. This is a case of that guy goes to work to look for a date. But in any case, let's let it play now. Yo, this is Young Turks anyway. Hold on.
I now get it. I now understand the sheer joy MAGA was experiencing as they would own the libs. Okay, because that video compilation of Sean Hannity alone made Zohran Mamdani's mayoral victory in New York City worth it. Okay, that was amazing.
Oh, I'm happy. I love the fact that he won, but I'm just a fair person. It's nothing about, I don't have any particular love for Islam, or I don't have any particular, I mean, I'm going to give you the honest truth. For me, I see all these religions as the same. Christianity, Judaism, Islam, I don't see where the difference is. I don't think, and I think in all of them, there's some troubling things that are fucking illegal today. Judaism, you try to do everything in that Bible, you'll go to jail. Christianity, you try to go do everything in that Bible, you will go to jail. Islam, you try to do everything in that book, you will go to jail. So I see them all as the same. So if you're going to have one, why would you be so shocked by the other? You have one, brings life to the other. Judaism brings life to Christianity. Christianity brings life to Islam. I mean, if one has to be important, shouldn't all the Abraham religions be important? I mean, it is freedom of religion. You know what I'm saying? So to a certain extent, you know what I mean? But in any case, they're shocked because it's a Muslim. I'm not shocked. I think it's fine. I'm not really scared. I don't even think your religion should matter, because you're not there to be religious. You're there to be a civil servant and to conduct mayoral functions. That's push for laws and sign laws on the city council level, sign bills on the state level or the city level into law. You're there just to sign the fucking shit. Say this is what the people want. The people are crying for this. And then explain your case and say, city council, do something about this. And then the city council does it, and then they write it up. What the fuck? I'm not trying to talk to him about the Quran. I'm not trying to talk to him about baby Jesus. I'm not trying to talk to him about Moses. What the hell? That would be an insult to my intelligence, because this is a job that no matter who you are or no matter what your thoughts are, some of your goddamn money is going in his pocket to do that job. Why would you want him doing, and why would you want to use your time to think about anything that has nothing to do with that job? But
there has been a lot of anger, a lot of seething, a lot of fear mongering on social media since Mamdani.
Look at this. Here's the funny thing. Look at this. I just got to point something out here. Hold on. This is one
of anger, a lot of seething, a lot of
okay,
that was amazing. But there has been a lot of anger, a lot of seething, a lot of fear.
Now look, see the guy in the middle? What is that? If we want to be funny and talk about Marxism or communism, what's that red hat for? Why has he got this red thing on? What's that? Does that symbolize communism? Does the red color symbolize socialism? What does it symbolize? You tell me, because it symbolizes those things in a lot of countries. But what does it symbolize to him since he has it on? You know, I mean, what's his affiliation? I mean, didn't this guy, wasn't he one of these? Damn, I tried to find this out. What is it, Guardian? Hold on. Did one of the people who ran for mayor in NYC, was he a Guardian? I don't even, what the angel? Let me see something. I don't even know what that hat symbolizes, but I'm curious, because to me it looks like he has a hat on, so it must symbolize something since he has it on. Yeah. So this guy, Curtis Sliwa, I was right. He was a guardian angel. He was actually a guardian angel. So when I was young, you know, I used to hear about this guy. I remember seeing videos of him and that organization from the New York City trains, right? Transit, from the train system. And they used to be there defending people, quote unquote. I'm sure some people in the chat know who he is. Now, there were some controversies about the guardian angels also. And also this guy, I believe, but he was younger then. So let me see something. What does the red hat symbolize that he wears? Why red? I'm just curious about this because, when I see that, okay, it says it's the red beret is the signature symbol of the Guardian Angels, the Volunteer Crime Prevention Patrol Group, 1979. Okay, here's what the red hat beret symbolizes and why the color was chosen. Visibly red was chosen because it's a bright and blah, blah, blah. Okay, Guardian Angels wanted to stand. Yo, I would be surprised if they wasn't on some Marxist stuff, actually, to be honest with you. I would be surprised. Courage and vigilance, unity and discipline. A lot of organizations use red, and they have some connection to socialist ideas. Also, okay, so they're just saying it's just their own thing. It doesn't connect with anybody else's use of red in politics. Okay, so in any case, let me just hear some more.
Mongering on social
Sorry about that. I just saw he had this red hat on, so I wanted to be sure.
Media since Mamdani won the race. And I want to get into it. Before the race was even called, though, you have the president of the United States, Donald Trump, absolutely freaking out on social media and also saying this about Jewish people, which I find particularly gross. Any Jewish person that votes for Zoran Mamdani, a proven and self-professed Jew hater, that is not true. I mean, I don't think I need to tell you guys that, but just to be clear, that's not true, is a stupid person. So here's Trump calling Jewish Americans who voted for Mamdani stupid, which is insane. Yeah, and then just before the poll results were announced,
exactly, Mamdani got more Jewish votes than he didn't get of the Jewish community. And what's so odd is that Trump just outright calls people stupid that way. But there's a lot of Jewish people, just for folks to know, that believe Trump is an anti-Semite, that believe Trump is a Nazi, that believe Trump is basically a bigot and a racist, you know? And so although you see legacy media often, because Young Turks isn't legacy media, that's what we're seeing right now. But CNN, I won't say MSNBC, but just to say legacy, the big ones, right? They don't often pose the question the opposite to Trump, like, and point out just every time he said something anti-Semitic or every time someone around him is anti-Semitic. What they do, though, I mean, they point it out. But what they do that is unbalanced is they go find someone who's not Jewish, who never said nothing bad, or maybe said one thing that could be misconstrued. If you really want to manipulate one thing out of 1,000 things, right? They will jump on that person and just keep asking them over and over and over, prove you're not anti-Semitic, prove you're not anti-Semitic. Meanwhile, Trump's whole shit is anti-Semitic. He got loads of bigots, racists, and people that hate Jews that voted for him. Like, that's a known damn fact. But they're not calling the Republican Party an anti-Semitic party. But I think that's a normal question. Is the Republican Party an anti-Semitic party? If you think the Republican Party is an anti-Semitic party, put a 1 in the chat. I'm just curious because shit, we just went over information where folks is just outright hate Jews. We seen it in the election. There was some dude in Florida. They had a little boat race or some shit with a bunch of people in Florida during the election with their flags, their Trump flags. And they had this video go viral where one of the people was on there talking about F Jews, get Jews and N-words need to get out of our country, like straight up. That wasn't hiding that, and there's more. I mean, look at this guy, Fuentes. He's an outright anti-Semite. He's just sitting down having nice, polite talk with Tucker Carlson. No problem with that, and they've known Nick Fuentes was an anti-Semite, and Trump even invited him to his own house to have dinner. Like, what is this? What is this? Yo, how many of y'all think the Republican Party is an anti-Semite party? I'm going to put a 1 in the chat. I know it's some trolls there. They ain't going to say shit about it. But here, Republican Party, I'll be the first. 1, I think if you want to find a party or find people that are anti-Semitic, I think look right in the Republican Party and you will find a whole lot of them. What percentage? I don't know, 30% maybe?
Kestenbaum, who I've had a few interactions with on Piers Morgan's show, took shots.
And I'm not saying this because I'm I'm a Muslim or I defend Muslims or I don't care about nobody's religion, period. It doesn't even pop in my brain. You could say you're Muslim or Christian or Jew a million goddamn times. It wouldn't mean anything to me. It would just be like, okay, so why are you telling me? What does that have to do with why I'm here? What's my business? We got business to discuss, and it's not religion. It's tax dollars. It's politics. It's, freedom, ideas like that. Not your religion. If you believe in Christmas. I'm not going to waste my time trying to convince you that you shouldn't celebrate Christmas. I'm cool with that. You want to celebrate it? Go ahead. Go ahead. Not my business.
That's at the Gaza Ministry of Health, which is believed to essentially undercount how many Palestinians the IDF has killed because they don't count the people trapped under the rubble. And he tied it to Mamdani's election results or expected election results. According to the Gaza Ministry of Health, Zoran Mamdani just won a whopping 312% of the vote. I don't even know what that was meant to communicate. Like, are you trying to say that the race was rigged or something? I don't know. But the real freak out took place after Zoran Mamdani won. So let's go to another one of my favorites.
Everything that you're about to see.
The real freak out came after. Come on, speed it up. This is what I want to hear real quick. Boom. All right, let's see here.
Lon Levy, who shouldn't really care much about what's transpiring in New York City since he lives in Israel. But nonetheless, he says, if you're a Jewish...
Oh, actually, they say 60. That's true. They said 63% supported Cuomo. Well, I mean, do you support Trump? I think it was less that supported Trump, by the way. New York has a big Jewish population, so it could be for other reasons. Like, it may not have anything to do with Islam or religion. It may have something to do with more like real estate, things like that. But in any case,
New Yorker,
taxes, this kind of issue.
Who doesn't understand why Mamdani will be a disaster for you, ask your grandparents. And that was in response to a post by Peter Beinart, where he says, if you're a Jewish New Yorker who can't understand why people in your city voted for Zoran Mamdani, ask your children. They probably did too. Then you have some of the more panicky posts. Lizzie Savetsky, who says, this will get ugly. We will feel the hits and we will answer boldly and unapologetically. Prepare, protect, and pray. Mark my words. This is only the beginning.
Right. Prepare, protect, and pray. Like, I mean, to me, when I see these kind of messages, it makes it seem like you're not even trying to even give the guy a chance. It's almost like you're treating him like he's Cuomo, who's been in office for a long time with a whole lot of corruption, or Eric Adams, who's been in office a whole lot of times, who you equally don't like, right? It's almost like you're talking about people that have already been mayor. That's what it sounds like to me. I'm curious if this lady even lives in New York. Does she? This Lizzie, what's her name? Hold on. What's this chick's name? Let me make it big on the screens because I'm curious about that. Like, but obviously she's having a panic attack. But is it a panic attack, or is it just a self-created one for no reason? What is this, Lizzie Savetsky? Okay, is she from New York? Let me see something here. Is Lizzie Savetsky from NYC? I'm just curious about that. Boom, boom, boom. 2 seconds. No, she's not from New York City. She's born and raised in Fort Worth, Texas. So she moved to New York City. Right. Okay. Let me see something. Does she still live there? Sorry, I just like to make sure of some of these things, because I don't know who the hell she is, but she's panicking. Obviously, she's in a panic. Okay. So she does live there. She's in a full panic mode over this guy.
Of the vicious storm that will rage through our great nation. Buckle up. So that was in reference to all of the smears about Zoran Mamdani allegedly being a Jew-hating jihadist. None of that is true, of course. But that fear-mongering campaign was the only thing his detractors deployed in order to crush him, and it didn't work.
Right, it didn't work. He won the election. Now, so what does that mean? Does that mean if he won the election, does that mean all those people that voted for him are Jew-hating? What did she say? Because the bottom line is he won, and all the people that voted for him heard all those things.
True, of course. That was in reference to all of the smears about Zoran Mamdani allegedly being a Jew-hating jihadist.
Right. Jew hating jihadist. Now, so that does that mean half of the population of New York City or more are Jew hating jihadist? Is that what that means? Like, you see what I mean? Somewhere there's flaws here. Like, it can't be that you're one individual and you have your feeling and you're saying that more than 50% of the people are absolutely wrong about him, and or they are Jew hating jihadists also, because they were fully aware of all this content, all this context that people were claiming about him. Now, let's hear it again.
Great. This is only the beginning of the vicious storm that will rage through our great nation. Buckle up. So that was in reference to all of the smears about Zoran Mamdani allegedly being a Jew-hating jihadist. None of that is true, of course. But that fear-mongering campaign was the only thing his detractors deployed in order to crush him, and it didn't work. There is no indication that Zoran Mamdani is going to persecute Jewish people at all.
Do me a favor.
The only reason why this
put a like, please like the video. Thank you.
Smear campaign even exists is because he's not
and subscribe
on his knees filleting Benjamin Netanyahu like all the other politicians in this country do. He said that he has no interest in visiting any foreign.
Yo, let's just be honest. No one should hold that against him because he doesn't like Benjamin Netanyahu. A lot of Americans are fucking tired of Benjamin Netanyahu. Yo, and you can't just say that Americans are Jew-hating jihadists because they're tired of Netanyahu. We actually been supporting Israel with our blood, sweat, and tears for what? Since its conception? So would that be reasonable to think that if Americans are just tired of fucking Netanyahu, that we hate Israel or that we hate Jews or that we're fucking jihadists? That don't make any damn sense. That's not rational. And it sounds more like these comments that they making about this guy too. You know what I'm saying? Like, not even looking to be fair, not even expecting that fairness brings good results. You know, like, damn, this is
foreign country as mayor.
I didn't even know all this crazy shit was even said about him, for real. This is like, I mean, I knew some negative things were said, the anti-Semitism thing, but I never looked into it. I knew it was an accusation, and I've heard people talk about it, but I've never heard like people go this hard, like saying, you know, he's a jihadist and a anti, you know, just
of New York City because he wants to stay here.
I thought the one thing that they heard was one comment that he made. And now they making it sound like it's like all about Jewish people, or anything he says is about a hatred for Jewish people or a hatred for Israel. It's like, God damn, yo, what the?
In New York City as the mayor to take care of the people here. And he also said that he would arrest
It's just a mayoral election, okay? It's not about Israel. It's not about Jews. It's not about Muslims. It's not about Christians. It's not about anybody. It's not about religion. It's about civil service. It's about making sure your water is clean, making sure the roads get fixed, making sure the subway works, making sure the cost of goods are affordable, making sure that the cost of living is affordable, making sure that everyone has a fair chance to get along. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to represent everybody. That's not about one thing. That's all kinds of stuff, you know. And again, it's civil service. You know, Muslims already have a place to pray. Do you need to get involved with them building a mosque? Jewish people already have synagogues in New York. Do you need to get involved with building mosques? Christians already have churches. Do you need to get involved in building churches? I mean, goddamn.
Benjamin Netanyahu, if he stepped foot in New York City, because, well, after all, the International Criminal Court has a warrant out for his arrest because he's a war criminal. There's more, though. Zionists in particular are threatening to leave the United States, which don't threaten me with a good time. Here's one.
Zionists are threatened to leave. Man, I don't even use that term. I think it's a loaded term to some degree. I don't think it works because then you got to qualify it and all of this shit. And it's just like, but in any case, this is Young Turks right here.
Guy who says, "Dear New York City Jews," by the way, over 30% of New York City Jews voted for Mamdani, but nonetheless,
right. 33%. That's a third of the Jewish population. So how could it be that the third of the Jewish population of New York voted for him and then he be anti-Semitic? Or a third of the Jewish population in New York, are they anti-Semitic? Put a 1 in the chat if a third of the Jewish population that lives in New York is anti-Semitic. I'm just curious about that because I don't know. I don't live. New York is like my second home, but I don't live in New York. Haven't been to New York in since when? 2016. I live outside of the U.S. You know what I'm saying? So I live in Copenhagen, even though I'm an American citizen. So I've been here for some time now as a grown man, right? So I don't know what New Yorkers think anymore today, but I wouldn't necessarily be against what they believe and what they vote for. That is anti-democratic, but in any case, you let me know, are 33% of Jewish voters in New York City, are they anti-Semitic? I mean, if they are, put a 1 in the chat. I don't think it's possible. I think it's more exaggerations and just, bullshit. But in any case, so now you hear it that some people got freaked out, right? Some people got freaked out. Now let's go on to the next thing. And Sean Hannity obviously is going to be one of them because Sean Hannity, this guy gets freaked out over, anybody who is not, well, how can I say this? Not an extreme bigot racist. You know what I mean? Like, because his view of conservatism is racist. Let's not call it conservatism because conservatism is not wasting money. We know the Republican Party doesn't believe in that. They fucking waste money. They waste money out the seams. I mean, when a Republican gets in office, you bleed money. Your tax dollars, not only do they not fucking go to you already, but they're going to bleed. They're going to throw your tax dollars in the trash, basically. That shit is, talk about only 50% go to you, of your taxes go to something you benefit from in a normal day. Shit, when a Republican gets in office, that number goes down just because of their policy. But in any case, here's another joker. This guy, I hate his ass. I mean, the dude on the left, whoever he is, he's not even credible anymore because his job clearly, and he's not even hiding it, is to just be devil's advocate. It's not even to say a point that he believes. I mean, you could, if Trump said, if Trump said the Gremlins are going to redecorate the White House, this motherfucking dude would defend it. The guy here on the left, not Van Jones, the guy here on the left. But here's my next point. The reason why I want to hear this part is because there seems to be this kind of also every time, people start talking about the cost of goods, the cost of housing, the cost of transportation, the cost of childcare, the cost of healthcare, the cost of water, electricity, these kind of things, right? Every time the public, the general masses in the U.S. start talking about this, all of a sudden there seems to be like this element of trying to now talk about like there's a split in the Dems or something like that, some weird shit like, and there could be I wouldn't say there's a split. I would say in the Democratic Party, there's multiple, not one or two total. There's not people don't agree on everything in the Democratic Party. They agree on loads of things that are very, very important, but the Democratic Party is not, it's a big party. It's nobody in it agrees 100% on everything. And there's a lot of different views. There's center Democrats, right? There's more ones that are more left, and there's ones that are more right, but after it's always interesting because after Republicans get their ass whipped because the public is tired of them, the conversation becomes something about, I don't trust Dems, or, maybe Dems, I don't know, is there a split, or some of them, do they like Mondavi? It's like, this dude just whipped their ass. What do you think? Like, it just seems to me like the arguments, the talking points come out and overshadow what really just happened. So listen, I'm going to let them talk a little bit. Van Jones is going to say something here, so let's go on.
I don't think a lot of folks had a lot of confidence in the Virginia campaign that was run on the Republican side, and New Jersey is. Oh yeah,
he's losing explaining right now. He's explaining from the loser perspective, right?
New Jersey. So
what's his name? Scott Jennings.
To overread it, I don't think the concerns you raised are illegitimate political strategy concerns. I think Just want to offer condolences to Chuck Schumer. Honestly, what I'm reading here in New York City
Right.
is that AOC is going to be the next senator from New York.
So you see what it is. So you see he pivots. I could expect him to do that because he's just a political pundit, right? He's a talking head, and he always has to agree
After
with
she
Trump.
gets done whooping his
right?
rear end in the
But now they throw this thing out like AOC and Schumer. Yo, listen, y'all. Again, we're dealing with public servants. It's not your personal job to carry the water for them, for any public servant. It's not your job to, they get a salary to advocate. That's what they do. They get a salary to write laws, okay, and to make things happen for the American people, not just you, every single individual idea, but for everybody, whether you voted for them or not, right? And but because obviously you wouldn't want to pass a law that hurts Americans, right? Even if it helps some, right? It's always going to be like that, because if some communities are missing something and they're missing something that another community doesn't need, that's not trying to hurt the other community. That's just trying to do your job, right? So, and you're always bargaining, and you're always speaking to the other side, right? But in this case, he starts talking about Schumer and AOC like there's a split. They want to create this idea that between the center conservatives in the Democratic Party and the leftists, the socialist leftists, blah blah blah. Yo, again, this is another charade. This is just legacy media charade. The reason why Dems did well is because independents who voted for Trump said, fuck this motherfucker. Like, what the fuck is he doing? God damn. They ran because the U.S. is about to burn down. It's crumbling. It's on fire. That's why it doesn't matter what party you're on. There's Republican people that was like, fuck Trump and voted for these Dems. That's the truth. And this whole gerrymandering thing, Republicans can gerrymander all they want. Shit, it ain't gonna matter if Republicans are like, fuck Trump and fuck his policies. And that's what happened tonight. But he's trying to shift. Yo, your job as a voter is to not it's not as minute and narrow as to get Schumer in office or get Schumer out. It doesn't matter. What matters is what the overall populace of people think and need and want. Obviously, the overall populace wouldn't give a damn about Schumer. So when you hear these concepts, these are hit pieces. These are not things that have anything to do with the public interest. But I'm going to let them talk.
2028 Democratic primary, and for his Senate races in 2026, I see the energy in the Democratic Party tonight behind a socialist, and I see the energy in Virginia. Democrats looking the other way on a violent candidate for attorney general who says he wants to murder Republicans and their children. If you think you're getting rid of Graham Plattner in Maine now, think again. This is a terrible night for national Democratic image.
I mean, this is so funny. This is a terrible night for Dems, but they won. But it's a terrible night. So we get that part. So
given what is happening inside their party, Mamdani is an event.
I mean, is it a terrible year for the United States of America? You ask him, he would be like, no, man, the economy is doing good. Hey, President Trump, he's the most successful president on earth.
Avowed socialist. It's not what people say that he is. It's what he says that he is. He's now the leader of their party. That's their energy. And Chuck Schumer's
He's the leader of the Democratic Party?
Now, here comes Van Jones. This is his pushback. So you see the extreme right winger give his thing, and then here's Van Jones.
There is no. Who is the leader? Can someone tell me?
He's a life raft for Republicans who have to go on TV and get their asses kicked today.
You own this now. You all
Yo, in the last month, the U.S. dollar went down 10%.
own this now.
The value just in 1 month.
We've had progressive mayors. I don't think anybody thought that de Blasio.
He's the best actor you all have, is he not?
Listen,
Mamdani.
Here's what I'll
Okay,
say.
I'm going to blow the image up.
I'm a lot happier than you are sad. You're saying I'm happy. You know why? Buyer's remorse from independents. Independents gave Donald Trump a shot. Buyer's remorse.
He's right about
The
that.
Latin community gave him a shot. You see buyer's remorse.
Yep.
Black men gave Trump a shot. They've come back home. Buyer's remorse. Why?
I don't
Because
think
people,
he's right about black men coming home. Not that I believe they really left it, but a significant number supported Trump, but I don't think they're coming home. Again, I think this is just about voters voting not for party, but voting for what is in their best interest. How much of my tax dollars actually affect my life positively? I think that's what voters are voting for. They're voting across party because they're realizing that, hey, since you're going to be paying all these taxes, and you do pay a lot of taxes, a whole heaping lot, right? Out of every hour you work, you should at least be getting something back that helps you and your community and people like you in your community and anybody in your community, right? It should work that way, right? But otherwise it's called taxation without representation. You would just be subject to a king. That's why people had a war in the U.S. against the king, right? That's why you got a country and not a colonial, territory. Now, this guy, when you look at it and you see that the wealthy got a 10% tax break, Americans, because that's where that 50% is going to the wealthy, and you are subsidizing Elon Musk's business. You're subsidizing Peter Thiel's business because they have loads of contracts with the government. You're subsidizing a lot of companies. I mean, the list it must be over 20 major corporations the U.S. is subsidizing, right, with taxpayer dollars. So it's only natural when somebody is saying, hey, fuck you. I'm not going to release your snap, even though the court ordered me to release your snap twice. I'm not going to release it. When you have a president and an administration that talks about tax dollars like it's their private money and it's not actually the taxpayers' money that they already paid in, this is what you get. And I think the Trump administration made it very clear, like, you pay for everything, but you really are the last to be thought of in this scenario.
Are sick of the status quo. That's why they voted for Trump the first time. That's why they voted him out the second time. That's why they voted him back in. People want change. And Donald Trump said he was going to do something about grocery prices. He's done everything, but he's putting in gold toilets in the White House. He's tearing up. He's gallivanting around the world. And you're seeing buyer's remorse in places where Republicans had some hope. This thing is starting to
click the like button, y'all.
Settle out now. This is about basic needs that people have and basic rights people expect.
I agree with what Van is saying right here.
That's what seems to be under fire from this administration. And if they think they can spin and talk and spin and talk and nobody's going to notice that, they just got proven wrong tonight. People's basic needs are not being met. One of the things that I think people are seeing, not just from Mamdani, but from the moderates as well, this focus on kitchen table issues. We used to talk about this in weird ways. Income inequality, wealth disparity, economic justice. People who
didn't say it that way.
but we had a lot of syllables, man. It was people describing a problem they didn't have, okay? Now you got people who are talking like the people who have the problem. I can't afford nothing. And somebody who can...
Yeah, that's true. The Democrat messaging was complicated, not down to earth enough for the voters that really should support their platform because of what they say. I think the people got frustrated with the, how can I say this, the academia and the legal language, right? The constitutional language, this professional language, this legal language, but a lot of Americans don't know it. And so if you don't speak plain language to them, they don't get it. Donald Trump, on the other hand, he spoke plain, very plain language. So the people got it. They believed it. And now they're like, yo, this motherfucker he actually didn't really mean shit. He meant line his pockets. Had he said, hey, y'all, I'm going to line my pockets this year, vote for me, no one would have voted for him. Those same people wouldn't have voted for him. But he literally lied and said, we're going to work on getting prices down. We're going to make Americans first. We're going to do this. There's nothing about what he's doing this first. He looks like a bitch in front of Xi, right? He looks like a bitch in front of Putin, right? He's attacking the allies, which only hurts you in trade, tariffs. Tariffs hurting American businesses flat out. You can tinker with the stock market all you want and try to make some money flow around, but it's only going to work for a week or two. After a while, if someone doesn't stop these tariffs, American corporations and jobs, private sector jobs will suffer, and they already are. And at the same time, Trump is firing federal workers. So who's going to support local businesses when they don't have a job? That's not making America first. You know, and this is what Trump is ushering in while he lined the wealthy's pockets, while he's lining his own pockets.
Talk that way, whether they're on the left of our party or the middle of our party, it's going to have a big audience. And this buyer's remorse that's setting in now from other people is a big problem for Republicans.
I think two big takeaways. So listen, I think there's this divide within the Democratic Party. All
right, this is the part I'm talking about, this divide. You see how they kind of build this divide up like this is a problem? Yo, what the fuck? This is not a problem, because American people, let me tell you something. Americans have to focus. What makes the United States powerful? One of the main things is that you have 350 million people paying into the same tax pool. That generates a lot of power. That is where your source of power is. You are the largest Western democracy. Full stop. Okay? So that is why you have a big military. That is why you have a big presence on the global stage. That is why you're a leader in trade. That is why. Don't you ever let these people fool you from that. If you didn't have those numbers, you would not be any of those things. I hope you understand that very clearly. Right? But since you do have 350 million people, you can be that. And you are, unless you fuck it up. But they're trying to make it seem like this has something to do, like an issue is like, well, the Democrats to the left and the Democrats to the right. And, that's a split. Like that has something to do with it. No, fuck all that. It's about how intelligent the American people are and how aware the American people are. That's supposed to steer your vote, and that's supposed to steer it anywhere. But if you're not aware about your own circumstance, like, for example, if you don't even know that 350 million people paying into one pool makes you powerful, then you're not aware. If you don't even know that at best, even before Trump came into office, that 50% of your tax dollars, only 50% goes to shit directly to that benefits your life. If you're not aware of that, then it doesn't matter what you do. That's called being aware when you have those conversations. When you don't know that every other Western country, a higher percentage of the taxes that people pay go directly to benefiting their direct lives. If you don't know that, you can't make any proper decision. You can't even value your own life. You see what I mean? It's called being aware. It's not about whether there's a left or a right, because the politicians are going to follow the awareness of the people, or they won't get your vote, right? Simple, but
the future of the party.
I digress.
Party, Mamdani.
Click the like button, y'all.
Is it democratic socialism? Is it more in the likes of AOC and Bernie Sanders? He no doubt ran a good campaign. I interviewed him. He is a very formidable force in American politics. We had two female governors who were just elected, Democrats, who ran as consummate centrists. Both of them were talking about uniting the country, that there's more that unites us than divides us, both with very credible resumes. So what direction are you going to go? Because you guys need to focus on winning a national election again. It's been a minute since that's happened.
What's she talking about?
Were just
Hold on.
Of AOC and I think two big takeaways. So listen, I think there's this divide within the Democratic Party. Is the future of the party...
Right. I think that's silly. And people started talking about this before the last election, right? Yo, I'm sorry. In any political party, you have older persons that are serving and you have younger ones, right? It's diverse. In a healthy party, you have women and men. You have old and young. That's a healthy party. That doesn't have to equal a problem. You have left, center, and right. In a healthy party, you have all of those things. And then you discuss the issues flat out. You get into some finite aspects of what your law is going to induce and create. If you know it on a comprehensive level, then all those other things don't even matter if you're doing your job. You see what I mean? And also, if the American people are actually aware, right, and not just partisan, not just saying, hey, I vote for Trump because, hey, fuck it. He says I don't like these people. You know, that's not good enough. You're supposed to know what you want in your communities in terms of infrastructure. You're supposed to know what you need in your community in terms of jobs. You're supposed to know what you need in your community in terms of education. Meaning, hey, if you don't have schools that produce qualified people, technicians and things like this, then you're never going to have people going into that job sector, whatever it is. You see what I'm saying? If you're not aware of what you need, then it doesn't matter how you vote, because you're always going to vote wrong because you're not even demanding anything from the beginning. This is a perfect thing to happen in Texas. I mean, look at Texas. Look at areas that really need certain kind of infrastructure or certain kind of federal government support. Texas receives more federal government support. It's a taker state. It needs help financing itself, right? Well, why do they perpetually keep needing this help? Why does it keep going on? Why is the minimum wage so low? Obviously, somebody's not good at making jobs there. Somebody's not, really, somebody's not good in the job sector up in that piece. You see what I mean? And also, but it's just an example, Texas. It could be anywhere else. So I think this kind of stuff is more, if I was to qualify this myself, I would say this is elitist talking point that you're getting right here. How to go into now start talking about, it's like a elitist control system. Now let me control the Democratic Party. Since the Democratic Party won the election, basically they don't want minimum wage to go up. They don't want American people to get more out of their taxes because they see it as legacy media will get less. That's how I interpret this. They manufacture a problem. If you win in elections, there's no problem. You see what I'm saying? Especially when your back is up against the wall. You see what I mean? And so for her to pivot into that dialogue, I think it's kind of manipulative, but it's a waste. But let me go on.
We'll get to the Mamdani a bit later.
Caitlin Collins at the White House got some new reaction to all these wins. Caitlin, what are you hearing?
Right now, that's just my perspective on it. I'm just saying it, as I go along. I haven't seen this little split. We got 5 more little clips coming up. Let me see here. 2 seconds. I'm going to go into the chat too in a second and see what you guys think.
Actually, it's been pretty quiet here at the White House.
Okay, so the White House was stunned, basically, right? And let me see real quick. Yeah, the White House was totally stunned. So let's move on here. What's next? Now, this is Jeffries giving his commentary on Fox, right? And this is after, obviously, the election, right? So let's go ahead.
Off your elections last night, there is a party divide.
Brett, don't look too happy, huh?
Talk about that at the government shutdown in response to President Trump. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries of New York. Mr. Leader, thanks for the time. I want to start with what exactly I asked President Trump at the very beginning, which is how do you read the results from last night?
Well, it was a decisive win for the American people. Affordability was on the ballot, and affordability won throughout America. Donald Trump, of course, promised that costs would go down on day one. Costs haven't gone down. Costs have gone up.
Okay.
Housing costs through the roof.
Have costs gone down?
Through the roof.
Let me stop that. Have costs gone down on day one? Have costs gone down? Put a 1 in the chat if costs in the USA have gone down. If they have not, put a 2 in the chat. Let me see here. I want to go over his points. The reason why I'm doing this is because obviously the other talking head tried to make this issue about Schumer and AOC, and people have always tried to make this issue of Schumer being the leader of the Senate, right? The Dems in the Senate, and Jeffries being the leader of the Congress. There's always like this split, and I find it interesting. I mean, it's kind of, if you ask me, there's something there. There is definitely always something there, but I think they exaggerate it to like an extreme degree. Look, how the hell can you live in the U.S. and say costs have not gone up? Let me say this again. If you think costs have gone up, put a 2 in the chat. If you think they haven't, put a 1 in the chat. Listen, it's no need to lie. Yo, Treywork, what city do you live in? Tizzy, what city do you live in? Kevin, what city do you live in? I'm waiting for those three because they're the stand out. No, prices haven't gone up. Look, everybody, we need to know where to go where the prices are cheap. Okay, Newcastle. Tizzy says in Newcastle the prices haven't gone up. Is that true? Okay, let me see here. Who else is in the chat? Throwing up a 1. Treyvork, what city is that? Kevin, what city is that? Right. Let me know what city you in, too. You know, now let me see. Newcastle, that's Newcastle. What let me just go in there. Let me just go in there and see. You know, and it's okay to have a different perspective, but let's be honest. If you want to participate, be honest about it, right? Who said they was in Newcastle? Let me see here. All right, let me go. Let me just bounce over to this real quick. Newcastle. How prices gone up in Newcastle. Let me see something. 2 seconds. You know, I mean, prices have gone up all over the country, man. I don't even see where that is even a sincere, you know, Delaware. Listen, okay, wait a second. Right. In Delaware, the median home sale price fell about 9.9 year over year in September 25. So the housing prices have gone down. What is that? Is that a good sign that prices have gone down in Newcastle? Okay, so let me see here. I want to know about Newcastle, Delaware. Because let's make sure we get accurate information here. Usually when the cost of housing goes down, it means that there's an economic issue broadly, you know. So let's see here. Data says Newcastle overall cost of living index 1 to 10, meaning it's about 10% higher than the national average. Housing cost is a major driver. One breakdown shows housing costs 23% higher than the U.S. average. But it's gone down apparently, so it must have been okay. For 2025, one measure shows cost of living single person in Newcastle is $2,781 a month for a family of 4. Damn, that's cheap, yo. I'm obviously it's not a major city, so for a family of 4, it costs $6,000. Okay, for a single person, $2,700. For a family of 4, $6,000. Okay, so housing rental in Newcastle, median home value $275,000 and up 33.5 over the past year. Okay, data as of late 2025 in the same city, median list price is $350,000 in June, down by 5.1% from the previous year. Okay, in Newcastle County, the broader county, okay, median sale price is $3. Same thing, right? And it's down 1.5%. Okay, longer term. Okay, now let me see here. What about cost of goods? Okay, what it means? Have prices gone up? Let me see this. What about the cost of goods and utilities? Damn, maybe that's an interesting place. All right. I mean, you know, places can be different. So I'm glad I actually looked this up because when I saw that, I'm surprised. But I guess it does matter where you're at. But let me just get all the data in. The average residential electric rate is about, what is this, 22.05 cents per kilowatt. It's roughly 32% above the national average. Okay. A more conservative figure for the city of Newcastle shows the average of 18 cents kilowatts with typical monthly bills of $213 a month. Okay. On January 27, 2025, the city announced a 6% rate increase for electricity and 8% increase for water. Okay. I mean, the recent report found that the average annual grocery bill in Delaware statewide is $8,700, which many local households say is higher than expected. But that was when was that? Okay, it doesn't say that. Oh, wait a second. What does it say right here? That's November. Right. So that's November. This is a recent one. Okay. So according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics poll for the Philadelphia, Camden, Wilmington region, which includes parts of Delaware, all items inflation, CPI for all urban consumers rose 3.3 over the last 12 months. So there you have it. The prices have not gone down. So let's just go ahead.
Donald Trump, of course,
maybe the price of a house has gone down, but that's usually the indicator that everything else has gone up. So if you're a real estate person and you're sitting back on a whole lot of money, which that is a tiny percent of the population, you might like the fact that housing prices gets cheaper and the cost of goods get higher, because that drives people to sell their homes, even though it's the home they love. Maybe their mama or their granddaddy gave them that home, but they can't afford it anymore or something like that. So
would go down on day one. Costs haven't gone down. Costs have gone up. Housing costs through the roof. Child care costs.
Click the like button, y'all.
Through the roof. Groceries through the roof. Electricity bills skyrocketing across America.
Okay, so is he telling the truth about the cost of goods across America? Put a 1 in the chat if he's telling the truth. If he's lying, put a 2 in the chat. Click the like button too. And let me know what city you're from. You know, you just tell me your city. You just tell me your city where you from. If he's lying, if he's telling the truth, put a 1 in the chat. If he's lying, and the cost of goods have not gone up generally across all of America, put a 2 in the chat. Okay, and I did say your city, so I can see some people don't want to participate, really. Yo, Clint, I said your city, man. Come on. Dead Man Live, put your city, okay? Look, you see how many people put 2? Arizona 1, okay. Uno, oh, Eric, you in LA, you in California. NYC 2, NYC no, okay, that's interesting. Hold on. Yo, sometimes I really wonder, you know. Well, let me put it to you like this. If you look at the data available, the man's telling the absolute truth. If you don't look at the data, then you might think he's lying, or there might be some kind of, I don't know, something you misread, or, you know, maybe you don't look at the dollars. Maybe you're so rich you don't care how much it costs. It's fine for you, no matter what. Okay.
And now, because my Republican colleagues refuse.
I mean, people who voted yesterday didn't seem to think the cost of goods are doing too well in the U.S.
Extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. We know that for tens of millions of Americans who are now in the open enrollment period, they are experiencing dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles. In some cases, working class Americans being asked to absorb increases of $1,000 or $2,000 per month. America is too expensive, and something needs to be done about it decisively.
I want to talk to you about the government shutdown in just a minute. Is the incoming New York Mayor, Mamdani, going to drag down...
Here we go. Is he going to drag him down? You know, I heard Mamdani want to make everybody who's a Christian a slave. Did you hear that too?
Moderates in your party next year.
Here comes Mamdani. Run for your life, Mamdani is here.
I think the connective tissue that we saw across the country, including as it relates to the mayor-elect's campaign in New Jersey and in Virginia, was the notion that as Democrats, we are going to fight hard to make life more affordable. Far too many people are struggling to live paycheck to paycheck. They're working hard and they're playing by the rules, but they can't get ahead. In fact, they can barely get by. And that's
okay. So let me ask you this question, everybody in the chat. Do you think the taxes that you pay, doesn't even matter how much, doesn't matter what the percentage is? I don't care. I'm not talking about should you pay more taxes or should you pay less. I'm asking this question. Do you believe that more of the taxes that you do pay should go back to positively and directly impacting your life? if you believe it should, more of your taxes should go back directly to impact your life and your community's life, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't, put a 2 in the chat. I'm interested. And click like, y'all.
Not be the case in this country, the wealthiest country in the history of the world.
Here's what Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said about Mayor-elect Mamdani and his race.
He had to not just defeat a Republican, he had to defeat a Republican and the old guard of the Democratic Party at the same time. The Democratic Party cannot last much longer by...
Oh, wow. That's what she said. I mean, yeah, AOC has been saying this. She's, oops, damn, what did I just do? She has actually been saying this for a minute. And, you know, talking about the old guard and the, well, but then I've seen others say something the opposite. Like I've seen another young woman, dang, how could Jasmine Crockett? She says things that seem the opposite. Like she's getting support from the old guard, if you want to call it that. But maybe when they say old guard, that's not specific enough, because even among the old guard, there's different people. There's different folks. You know, they're not, you know, is she talking about Pelosi or is she talking about Schumer? Yeah, but in any case, let's go. Or somebody else.
Denying the future by trying to undercut our young, by trying to undercut a next generation.
Yeah, I hear you, Freedom Rider. I agree. I think people should be getting tired on both sides because, you know, like I'm just telling you, as an American that lives outside of the U.S., I live in a country. It's Denmark. I live in Copenhagen, Denmark. I'm born and raised in Washington, D.C., though. And my family goes back on both sides to the colonial period. I'm just here to tell Americans that the country that I live in, the taxes that you do pay, a higher percentage of that, much higher percentage of that goes back directly to things that support you, your family, and your lifestyle, your life, your actual life. Seriously, you know, and that's why I asked the question, because since I've lived in the U.S. and I've lived outside of the U.S., I've noticed the quality of life different when it comes to taxes. Right. I've noticed what you get for your taxes is different in different places in the Western world. And I've also noticed, doing some data research and knowing people across the EU, of course, you know, to qualify a lot of information, that this is a standard across the EU. You know, EU citizens, out of the taxes they do pay, a higher percentage of it goes back to their actual lives than what's happening in the United States of America. And I think that's the conversation taxpayers need to have, not so much about what party, but controlling the conversation, like making sure that any party is discussing that. You see what I mean? Right now in the U.S., at best, it's only 50% of the taxes you pay go back to directly impact your life in a positive way. I'm serious. Like, so there's a stark difference there.
So there is a divide there. And I guess the question to you, Mr. Leader, is, are you part of the old guard or the future that Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez talks about her and Mayor-elect Mamdani?
Now, you see, I think that you see, I talked about this before. You see how Fox News is now talking about this split. You see, and this is just one day after the election. So CNN did it, and they're supposed to be the left side, which they're not really. They're like a center, but they went straight to the split. Is it a split in the Democratic Party? Now Fox, the extreme right wing media, is going after the split. You see what I'm saying? I think it's all a hoax. It's a legacy media hoax, y'all. And they run this game on the people. It's really bullshit, because things that they could be talking about, they're not talking about at all. Like what I just talked about. What percentage of your tax dollars goes directly back to benefit your life, since you're the taxpayer, since it's your money, since you're obligated by law to pay it, since you get penalized and thrown in jail if you don't? Right? What's the percentage? American people need to know that at best, only 50% comes back to do anything for your ass in your community. You need to know that every other Western country, that number is much higher. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So no wonder people that are paying taxes in other countries aren't so frustrated and are more happy than American citizens. It's really obvious. It's not about are you for the left or are you for the right. It's like what the average fucking situation is, what is considered the norm is fucked up. You know?
That's a question, Brent, that the people that I represent.
Click the like button. Let's hear this question again.
A next generation.
So there is a divide there, and I guess the question to you, Mr. Leader, is are you part of the old guard or the future that Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez talks about her and Mayor-elect Mamdani?
Well, ultimately, I think that's a question, Brent, that the people that I represent are going to have to decide. In the House, as you know, we have a 2-year employment contract, and every 2 years we have to go back to the voters and make our case as to whether we are continuing to deliver for the American people, the people that we're privileged to represent, in ways that improve their quality of life. That's what Democrats are all about at this moment, House Democrats in particular. We recognize that America deserves better than where things are at right now. That we need to drive down the high cost of living, we need to fix our broken healthcare system, and we also need to clean up corruption across the board in Congress, at the Supreme Court, and of course as it relates to this administration.
You've had Democratic socialists like Mamdani.
I think Hakeem, I like his answer on that. And to me, his answer was sufficient. You know, he addressed a lot more than I even think that, you know, Brett intended for him to address. Let me just hear that one more time. And I think what sometimes, no matter if you like an individual, if you don't like an individual, you shouldn't let your like or dislike stop you from clearly listening to what they are saying, because that has consequences also. If you're not able to clearly listen and acknowledge what someone's saying, whether you like them or not, you are a problem for yourself. So let me just hear this one more time.
That we need to drive American people case.
Mayor-elect Mamdani.
So this is the question. All right. Let me just play that question back and we can hear him.
By trying to undercut a next generation.
So there is a divide there, and I guess the question to you, Mr. Leader, is are you part of the old guard or the future that Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez talks about her and Mayor-elect Mamdani?
Well, ultimately, I think that's a question, Brent, that the people that I represent are going to have to decide. In the House, as you know, we have a 2-year employment contract, and every 2 years we have to go back to the voters and make our case as to whether we are continuing to deliver for the American people, the people that we're privileged to represent, in ways that improve their quality of life. That's what Democrats are all about at this moment, House Democrats in particular. We recognize that America deserves better than where things are at right now. That we need to drive down the high cost of living, we need to fix our broken healthcare system, and we also need to clean up corruption across the board in Congress, at the Supreme Court, and of course as it relates to this administration.
You've had
Okay, so to me that answer suffices, you know, because he said a lot, also corruption. But let me get into the chat. Look, Tizzy says while their taxes are 45 and 55%, right? And I said this from the start. This is a trick statement that Tizzy's making, because the question is not how much your taxes are, but what percentage goes back to positively and directly affect your life personally, your community. Does it do good for your community in a way you can see and touch and feel every day of the week, right? And so Tizzy says, while their taxes are 45 and 55%, he's talking about EU, right? But why do you care if you pay more taxes and a higher percentage of the taxes you pay go right back to you? I mean, do you have a problem with your taxes going to your vacation? Making sure that you have a vacation every year, right? Minimum, while getting fully paid. Do you have a problem with childcare? Do you have a problem with universal health care? Do you have a problem with universal education, Tizzy? See, again, I don't think the taxes should be raised in the United States of America. My statement is simple. Should more of the taxes you pay in the United States of America go directly back to benefiting you and your community that you live in directly? That's the question. So, again, it doesn't matter how much you pay. Because right now only 50% of the taxes you pay as an American citizen goes directly back to you, to anything you see, touch, or feel. Period. Got nothing to do with healthcare. Got nothing to do with education. Got nothing to do with roads. Got nothing to do with clean water. Got nothing to do with childcare. Got nothing to do with education in your community or for you at all. So, do you think more of what you pay should go back? I'm not saying should taxes be risen. Throw that out. I don't think taxes should be risen. If anything, I think they should be lowered. But even if they are lowered, do you think more of the taxes you pay should go back to benefiting your life as an American citizen or not? And if you do, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't, put a 2 in the chat. But make sure you leave the state where you live. Let me give y'all a chance and click the like button. Let me see here. Because it's easy to get tricked in some of the conversation, and I also know these talking points are hard to just leave behind, because I'm not coming with no talking point. You see what I mean? Like, this is not CNN you watching right now. This is not Fox News. You see what I mean? We're having a conversation that only goes on here. And by the way, you're going to hear like some of the other podcasters like Midas Touch Network, big up to them. And all of them, what is this? This guy, Jack Cocchiarelli, this dude. What's another guy? A big podcaster. What's his name? Eric? Is his name Eric? Something out of DC too? But in any case, I believe they're about to go up into this topic big time. How much of your taxes should go back to you versus other countries, because this is something that legacy media hasn't talked about yet, but it has big consequences. Okay, I see a lot of people get where I'm coming from now. Right. I see y'all. You get where I'm coming from. See, we can avoid this. Should taxes be more or should taxes be less? Or do they pay more over there or do they pay less? Nah, fuck all that. Whatever you pay, should more of that shit go back to help your ass? How about let's keep it simple? Let's keep the conversation simple. You see what I mean? And let's go straight up the middle with that, Now I'm going to go on. Let me let this play again. I'm going to let this play a little bit, and then I'm going to come back into the chat and see what y'all talking about. Listen, click the like button, subscribe if you haven't.
Democratic socialists like Mamdani win, though, and there have been supporters, including yourself, who socialists
at the Supreme Court, and of course as it relates to this administration.
You've had Democratic socialists like Mamdani win, though, and there have been supporters, including yourself, who endorsed him. But the Democratic Socialists of America, this is what their platform is: abolish mandatory minimums and cash bail, establish universal rent control, greatly reduce U.S. military budget, amnesty for all immigrants, full voting rights to non-citizens, and national popular vote for president. So do you sign on to that new side of your party with those stipulations?
It's very interesting that you asked that question. Here's what Democrats stand for. We believe in a country with a strong floor and no ceiling. In this great country of ours, when you work hard and play by the rules, there should be no ceiling to the success that you can achieve for yourself, for your family, and for your children. At the same period of time, as Democrats, we do believe in a strong floor, and that includes Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, the Affordable Care Act, veterans benefits, and nutritional assistance. Yeah. Things that, unfortunately, my Republican colleagues are cutting right now as we speak with an agenda that's designed just to benefit the wealthiest amongst us, and that's what was done in their one big ugly bill.
I want to talk about health care in just a second, but this is the last thing about Mamdani. How did you
Damn, they fixated on Mamdani.
And contrast that
with the Senate. This is crazy. He's like, how many questions are just going to be right about Mamdani? That is so...
I want to talk about health care in just a second, but this is the last thing about...
Yeah, you don't want to talk about health care. We got us a Muslim we going to talk about, y'all. A Muslim socialist.
Mamdani. How did you come to endorse Zohran Mamdani, and contrast that with the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who not only didn't endorse him, he didn't say how he voted. Take a listen.
Today is election day in New York City. Did you vote for Mamdani or Cuomo? Look, I voted, and I look forward to working with the next mayor to
listen.
help
Hold on.
New York City.
Let's listen to this. Let me show you how they go about it, setting the tone, right? And people will walk away discussing the shit they want you to talk about. I'm gonna tell you straight up, this question that he's posing, when it's posed to an American citizen, I'm just gonna tell you flat out, that is a bullshit question, because they're leading you to think that because he didn't answer the question, you know who he voted for, when you don't. And the reason why is because as an American citizen, just flat out, you're not obligated to tell anybody who the fuck you vote for. You know, nobody in the chat is obligated to tell me who you vote for. You're not obligated to tell anyone in your neighborhood. What if someone in your neighborhood doesn't like who you voted for? What if you're in a Trump town and you're the only person who voted for someone else? You're going to tell your neighbors? You see what I'm saying? Like, what if, there's these nuances there. You don't know if Schumer is not answering the question because he doesn't want some of his donors to know. You don't know why he's not answering the question. He could have voted for Mamdani. But let me play it now again.
Didn't endorse him. He didn't say how he voted. Take a listen.
He didn't endorse him. Of course he's doing that because he's got to endorse him, right? They're looking for the endorsement, obviously.
Today's election day in New York City. Did you vote for Mamdani or Cuomo?
Look, I voted, and I look forward to working with the next mayor to help New York City.
Yeah, I think it might be donors, I think it's donors, I doubt he voted for Cuomo. Who votes for a motherfucker that is going to lose? And then secondly, he already knows Cuomo was going to lose. And then thirdly, you don't even have to tell Cuomo that you didn't vote for him, Anyway.
As live blocks away from each other.
Let's hear what he got to say about healthcare.
In Brooklyn. How did you come to the different calculus as far as your endorsement than Senator Schumer did?
Well, I issued a statement. That statement certainly speaks for itself. And as Leader Schumer said, and he, of course, speaks for himself as well, we have to all collectively now make sure that everyone who was elected, that Zoran is a successful mayor for the good of everyone, people who voted for him and people who voted against him. We certainly have to make sure, of course, that Mikey Sherrill, who had a decisive victory in New Jersey, crushed the Republican opposition, that she's successful. She ran on affordability. And we all have to work to make sure that, of course, Abigail Spanberger, who had an incredibly decisive victory, I think it was 14 or 15 points. Nobody apparently saw that coming on the other side of the aisle, that she's successful because everyone is focused on making life more affordable.
And I
for the
talked
American
about
people.
the massive spreads today on air, and it was significant in those two states. I want to talk to you about the government shutdown. There is talk of deals up on the Hill, possibly appropriations bills, as well as a continuing resolution passing before Veterans Day, including paying veterans before Veterans Day. Would you?
Okay, so I'm going to go past this, but what I wanted to say about this issue is that, because I know there's a lot of people not getting paid. There's federal workers not getting paid. And a lot of those federal workers, support either side, right? You never know, right? Now, but here's the thing. To those federal workers that are furloughed, that's not good. But that affects the economy over some time, once they, when they get their checks reduced, unemployment, whatever percentage in unemployment they get of their check and all of this stuff, it has an effect on the economy. But in any case, but more directly is also when you just are working and you don't even get paid, right? And so I know there's a lot of people that feel about that. But listen, the politic right now is about everybody. And you got to remember, I'm speaking to those people that maybe have not getting paid. You should understand that there's loads of Americans like that go through that every day not getting paid. Loads. These are voters. These are people that have been saying, hey, listen, I can't afford to keep my lights on even though I have 3 jobs. Can you help me? There's a lot of people like that. You see what I mean? There's so many Americans like that. So I just want the people who didn't get a check this time around to recognize that you're not alone, that there's a lot of people that wish they were in your situation too. So don't let these politicians split you from the people and do something that's stupid for yourself. Because if the Democrats cave in without making negotiations, whether you have a job or not, you are guaranteed to have a much harder life. Much harder. Again, that 50% of those taxes that you paid before Trump came in, right? They came back to you. That 50%, they used to come back to you. Trump is working on making that go down to 40%. You see, and you're going to feel that because that's services. Services that everyone that lives in any community will be affected by, unless you're a rich elitist. Like if you are middle class, upper middle class, which is like, that could be, just under, whatever it is, right? You look that up, but definitely upper middle class people and poor, all of you all will be greatly affected if they do way more than if you don't get a check for 1 month, if this is not negotiated. So just keep that in mind. Don't let the politicians split you. Don't let the Trump administration make you feel like you have to say, fuck everything else. Just give me my check. No, because you're going to regret that as soon as the government opens up. If they don't renegotiate loads of this stuff, you are a damn fool. You're a damn fool. But I can understand, some people, maybe they're losing their check and they already been behind on bank payments for 3, 4, 5 months. Who knows? I don't know, but I just wanted to put that out there to you. So, all right, now screw this. Let's go on to the next one. Boom. Here we go. This is Bernie Sanders' perspective after the election. Let's see here.
And Senator Sanders is my lead source tonight here on Capitol Hill. And thank you, Senator, for being...
Now, this is in line with the socialist thing. They say, now keep in mind, I think the word socialist is a loaded term because listen, all these countries where 60%, 75% of the taxes they pay go directly back to services for them in their home and them on the street. You see what I mean? The people that get more out of their taxes, they're calling socialists like that's a bad thing. And these countries are not socialist countries. You see what I mean? Denmark's not a socialist country. Germany's not a socialist country. France is not a socialist country. Those are capitalistic countries. But they just have put more of the taxes that the citizens pay go to shit that the citizens want in their actual lives. That's what it is. That's the percentage of the taxes that they pay go back to them. More of the taxes they pay go back to them. And at the same time, across Europe, at the same time that more of their taxes go back to them, the average European is taking home $1,000 more than the American after they pay their taxes and after they pay their expenses, their monthly expenses. So there is no way in hell, as you can know these things and not see as an American citizen, you ain't doing well at all. No bragging. There can be no bragging from any sensible person. There can be no bragging. You are last. Just understand that in the Western world terms, you are last. Your government treats you like you are the last. Just understand that.
Here, I'm assuming that was not planned.
You could call it what you want. You could call it whatever the hell you want. Bernie Sanders is up to, but he's trying to help your ass. Okay, he's trying to help you at least not be last.
It was not planned. I came to hear what Senator Schumer was going to say. He was late. I was invited.
Click the like button, y'all. Thank you.
To get up front, that I did my thing.
And you basically delivered what your message is in terms of what your takeaways were from last night, what it means for Democrats that you caucus with.
What it means is I think Trump said it right. The Republicans lost badly last night. And the reason that they lost badly is that people are really quite disgruntled and disgusted with Trumpism in a general sense. And in terms of health care, what people are saying is we cannot afford a doubling in our health care premiums. In Vermont, we are seeing people being asked to pay a tripling or a quadrupling. Who can afford that? And people are saying it is insane to throw 15 million Americans, low income and working class people, off the health care that they have resulting in some 50,000 unnecessary deaths each year, all to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%. Elon Musk, in my view, and in the view of most Americans, really does not need a tax break so that we can throw people off of healthcare. There is a revolt against Trumpism. I think Democrats have the momentum. And now what has got to happen is Trump has got to come to the table and say, okay, let's make sure that premiums do not go up. Let's make sure that we do not throw millions of people off healthcare. He does that, we can end the shutdown tomorrow.
So that wasn't the message, though, that he delivered today. Basically, instead of talking about working with Democrats, he was saying eliminate the filibuster today. I mean, he was making that message pretty clear to those Republicans in the room this morning.
But he's
eliminate the filibuster. You know, I don't know how many of you know. You let me know if you know what that means. Eliminate the filibuster. Yo, let me tell you. First of all, right off the bat, right now, if the filibuster, this law, that means you got to have 2/3, right? Voting for funding, right? Not just the law, but to fund the law, right? To fund whatever agreement was made. That would mean that the Republicans wouldn't need you right now. You would be losing more of your tax dollars than you already lose. Yo. And keep in mind, nothing in the big, beautiful bill is about lowering your taxes. You simply agree they would simply, from one day to the next, you would simply be getting far less services for the same amount of taxes you're paying. I can see why Trump is saying that, but just think of this as a democracy, the democracy Americans have, right? Look, the blue states generate more federal tax dollars than the red states. The red states, on large, they receive tax dollars from blue state taxpayers. Yeah, they do. So in a democracy, if you want to be fair, right, the people that are helping you are blue state people. Blue state people are helping red state people every day of the week. Every hour that a blue state person goes to work, they are helping red state people survive. That's just facts on average. Now, because blue states generate more federal tax dollars than they use, and that excess federal tax dollars goes to other states, gets distributed to other states that generate less tax dollars than they use. For example, Texas, right? So they need these services, right? Now, to me, it just seems like far too many Americans don't want to respect other Americans. Because if you want to be fair, you would say, wait a second, even if I have 51% vote of the 51% of Congress, still, don't the 49% matter at all? They're my fellow citizen. Don't the 49% matter? When you're the 51%? Why does your policy have to be so exclusive? Why is that reasonable? And is that sustainable? Why would you want to not listen to the 49% that actually does more for you financially than you do for them? Is that fair or reasonable? Or is that shooting yourself in the foot? You know, I'm just saying, it's just a question, you know, and if you didn't know these things that I'm saying, you should look them up before you answer. Like, also, I could see some people come in the stream a little late, so maybe you haven't heard some of the stuff that was being discussed, some of my earlier commentary. So I would suggest you when the stream ends, started in the beginning so you can see. Because the reason why I know this is because when I look at some of the comments, I could see it's like they're coming from, they missed something already said. Yeah, I'll put it that way. So let's go on to the next one. Now, he talked about Trump. Now, here's Trump's ass. Trumpity dumpity dippity dump. Right? Is this Trump? Oh, no. This is Caroline. Trump is coming up after that. Now, let's see what Caroline has to say about this election.
Cut federal funding to New York.
And other shit.
How much
Here we go.
funding would be impacted? The president suggested that if
Can y'all hear that?
the president suggested that if Mamdani wins, that he would cut federal funding to New How much funding would be impacted? What would be impacted there?
Well, look, we won't get ahead of the election results, nor will I speak to what the president may do in the future. We'll see how tonight goes, and then I'll let him speak on it.
Okay, so this was just before the end.
And why did the administration exclude Democratic lawmakers last week? There was a briefing about U.S. strikes on alleged drug trafficking boats. Why were those Democrats excluded?
The administration has briefed Congress on these matters 8 separate times, and Democrats have been included in those briefings. In fact, I know that Secretary Rubio will be on Capitol Hill tomorrow to brief the Gang of 12, which includes Democrats as well. So the president's made it very clear if Senator...
Okay, oops, that may have been the wrong one. Here, let's go back. Sorry about that.
...who need this assistance from the United States...
Here we go. This is the part I wanted to hear.
Since they have cells in
Mexico. I know the Trump administration, we are aware of that and counting. And the president ended a list in our new meeting.
Here we go.
Has Mansour's assassination kind of opened up some new options for the United States to pursue regarding cartels?
Well, first of all, with respect to this specific news item and this alleged assassination that took place in Mexico, I know the Trump administration, we are aware of that, and of course we condemn all political violence anywhere in all forms. As for Claudia Sheinbaum and the president's relationship with her, I think he has a lot of respect for her as president of Mexico, and he also really appreciates the coordination that she has provided to the Trump administration. I can't speak for her and what she's doing internally in her country. I can speak for the president in saying we are continually pushing Mexico to do more to tackle the drug trafficking and the drug cartels within their country, and we are working with them in any way that we can. And the president has obviously used the full range of executive options in his authorities to crack down on drug trafficking at our southern border and to designate these...
Just one more. Last month, myself and the other panelists made the recommendation to the president for, speaking of foreign terrorist organizations, to have Antifa not just be domestic terrorist organization, but be designated as a foreign terrorist organization.
Yeah, this ain't going nowhere, this Antifa thing and blah, blah, blah. But in any case, if it does, whatever. Okay, sure. People are waiting on a lot of stuff to appear magically, and they talking about Antifa. Yeah, go ahead. You find the leader. Can we find the leader of the English language also? Who started the English language? Y'all, anybody? Who made the first dictionary? Okay, let's go find them also.
In fact, you had 49 Democrats who already voted to do this before. The only reason...
Hold on.
Thanks. I think the president has been very realistic and strong in his position on the filibuster. He's been very vocal about it. I just spoke to him about it. He feels really strongly about this. Republicans need to play tough and they need to play smart. That's how the president feels. And we know that Democrats, if they are ever given a chance at power again in this city, they will absolutely take away the filibuster from the United States Senate. In fact, you had 49 Democrats who already voted to do this before. The only reason it did not move forward.
That's the reason why Trump wasn't taken out of power. So because of the filibuster, you see, so Republicans now are talking about removing the filibuster. Democrats wanted the filibuster removed before when they wanted to remove Trump. Trump was impeached, but he wasn't removed by the Senate in impeachment hearings there. So, this kind of thing, I'm curious about it because I just think it's very immediate. But I also think it doesn't speak to, it's not really getting to the core of what Americans should be asking. You know what I mean? And what Americans should be doing. I think things have gotten so partisan in the U.S., which is basically blind. Partisan is another word for blind. It means you're blinded by being too extreme or too much for a party instead of whatever issues are being discussed that affects you, which you pay taxes for, So I think either way, it's good that you have the filibuster because then you can't be excluded. People are forced to negotiate. So ultimately, that's a very good sign of the democratic process. However, it really does mean if you want to get Trump out of office, Democrats will also need more senators. You see? So you have to understand that. So anybody that is agreeing right now to end the filibuster for one issue, you need to think a couple of steps forward and ask, how's it going to look when the question is posed another way? Would you still want it? You see what I mean? You all of a sudden going to be like, nah, end the filibuster now. It's over. You never know, but it's your right. But I'm just saying, you know, so this is the issue they're having with the filibuster. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. This is the same bullshit. They're talking about filibuster to open up the government. Okay, we get it now. Yeah, you want the government open because you need the money now. A lot of programs, it's not just programs for middle class and poor that are waiting, that won't be funded, but also if the Democrats don't hold the line and they just say, fuck it, let's just agree to open the government up without any negotiations, the middle class and poor will be hurt also. Period. The same way. And Trump will go on to be firing more people too and taking away more programs. He already said it. So in my mind, I don't think you can open the government up, because the fact that the government opens up, the only thing it does is make sure that it gets spread around. There's actually money that's not going to some of these folks like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, to these government projects, big government projects. Yes, that's also under Congress's control, the funding of it. You see what I mean? So it's not, I don't think they've gone in to discuss it. Maybe I need to look that up right now and ask how many programs, you know, but it's true. It hurts both sides. You know, I don't think Trump and his administration, they're very good at hiding what is being covered up. And I'm not sure why maybe Democrats haven't discussed that more, but we need to discuss it more. I'm going to look that up, matter of fact.
The administration said it would comply with the court order to expend the full amount of SNAP contingency funds by end of business day yesterday. So, right.
So the court said that Trump administration needs to release the SNAP funding. They already have the funding. It's already been collected. It's already being stored, and that they just need to release it, right? And Trump hasn't released it yet. Let me know. Has there been an update on that? I don't think it is. This is 24 hours ago. Yeah, this is 24 hours ago, so I don't think it is. But Trump hasn't released it yet, you know, and they're claiming that even though you already paid this in your taxes, right, that it shouldn't be released until you make a political decision about everything else, about funding all the other things in the big beautiful bill come first before you can get your SNAP. Okay.
Did the administration distribute that money or defy that court order?
No, the administration is fully complying with the court order. I just spoke to the president.
Oh, so they're going to comply. Okay.
The recipients of these SNAP benefits need to understand it's going to take some time to receive this money.
Oh, so they're going to delay it. They're going to do it, but they're going to delay it. I get it now. I see. So it's the delay. It's not don't do it anymore. It's just that, hey, we know y'all need the money, but we're going to delay this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to slow it down. We're going to work against it, put it to a grinding halt while claiming that we're trying to do it. Although when it was released last year, it was just like in one day. Release, automatic pilot. It's already set, schedule. A machine even does it. It says, you know, it's set by a computer. Released on this day. And these are the people. Boom, boom, boom. Now it's like we need to find out where it is. We need to look and see how many illegal immigrants are on the list. We need to find out if people are scamming. American citizens are scamming the SNAP benefits. We don't want any millionaires on there when they're really not supposed to be there. Now it's just stall.
Because the Democrats have forced the administration into a very untenable position. We are digging into a contingency fund.
What the fuck does untenable mean in this context? Untenable? Oh, really?
Supposed to be for emergencies, catastrophes, for war, and the president does not.
There is an emergency. You hear her? What she just said? It's supposed to be for emergency, catastrophes, or war. This ain't an emergency. The government being shut down is not an emergency.
Into a very untenable position. We are digging into a contingency fund that is supposed to be for emergencies, catastrophes, for war.
Okay.
And the president does not want to have to tap into this fund in the future.
But that's not what it said last month.
And that's what he was
not on the website.
Referring to in his Truth Social post. So
that's not what happened before in the other Trump administration either. They didn't have that shit before. They didn't have that argument. They just released it.
The Department of Agriculture, as for the latest SNAP payment in the judge's order,
Lion-ass Levitt
put out guidance to states today on how to get that money to the recipients of SNAP. But it's going to take some time. The best
this bullshit
way to get the full amount of SNAP benefits to those beneficiaries is for Democrats to reopen the government. So to anyone who is a SNAP beneficiary at home,
next thing you know, she's going to be saying, and it only goes to people who voted for Trump,
who needs that assistance. And the president was just saying, this is for people who are truly needy, who need food, who need this assistance from the United States government. Democrats are holding.
Is she now advocating for the poor? But the big beautiful bill advocated to cut the poor. It's cutting SNAP, the damn bill. You know? I mean, is she going to join the Democratic Party soon? What the hell?
Bring it up. And the president was just saying, this is for people who.
She can't say it without a smile on her face, though.
Are truly needy, who need the full amount of SNAP benefits to those beneficiaries is for Democrats to reopen the government. So to anyone who is a SNAP beneficiary at home who needs that assistance, and the president was just saying, this is for people who are truly needy. And the president was just saying, this is for people who are truly needy.
Look, look at that smile on her face. She got a little smirk. She's not even used to saying that shit. She knows it sounds funny. Look, and again, this is for people who are truly lead. Is this Caroline Levitt talking, or did the fucking exorcist just happen? Is this a ghost inside her body, or is she just lying her ass off and doing a poor job at it, by the way?
But it's going to take some time. The best way to get the full amount of SNAP benefits to those beneficiaries is for Democrats to reopen the government. So to anyone who is a SNAP beneficiary at home who needs that assistance, and the president was just saying, this is for people who are truly needy, who need food, who need this assistance from the United States government. Democrats are holding it up.
But in the big beautiful bill, they're cutting SNAP too. So, I mean, that's the country. That's the United States, man. This is how patriotic people get about their fellow citizen, you know. By the way, in a capitalistic country, everybody can't be rich. Did you know that? That's mathematically impossible. See, for some to be rich, there have to be some poor, pretty much. So at least your laws can look into subsidizing some things for the poor since you're rich. That would be the fair thing to do, right? Because again, in no society can everyone be rich. So, I mean, you know, not unless you're talking about a one that has slavery and they just don't count how many slaves they have. Let's go on. This is Trump inside of his morning show after the election.
Single time they've ever been asked.
Click the like button, y'all.
Forever. This is the first time they haven't done an extension. Extensions are supposed to be easy, but if they won't do an extension, they won't do any bill, even a simple bill. And we should do our own bills. We should get out. We should do our own bills. We should open up. We should start tonight with the country's open. Congratulations. Then we should pass.
I mean, he's talking about we should get a filibuster. Man, don't you realize that? Why the hell would a Democrat vote for a filibuster when they're trying to get you to renegotiate? That doesn't make, you see how, so there is definitely something else going on with Trump here. He's not in a hurry to open up the government like he says. That's not, he's got time to play around, toy around with shit that doesn't work, that they already know doesn't make any sense, by the way. You see what I mean? Anything else but what makes direct, fast, reasonable sense, right? That's what Trump's, going to do. He's going to meander
forever.
And by the way, he's rich, so it doesn't matter to him.
First time they haven't done an extension. Extensions are supposed to be easy, but if they won't do an extension, they won't do any bill, even a simple bill.
It's the first time they haven't done an extension? Is that true? Is that true? Let me look that up. Go ahead.
And we should do our own bills. We should get out. We should do our own bills. We should open up. We should start tonight with the country's open. Congratulations. Then we should pass voter ID. We should pass no mail-in voting. We should pass all the things that we want to pass, make our elections secure and safe, because California is a disaster. Many of the states are disasters. But can you imagine when they vote almost unanimously against voter ID? All we want is voter ID. You go to a grocery store, you have to give ID.
It's not the first time at all. And Trump is just full of shit. You know what I'm saying? He's just saying that because it's happening to him right now. And it's just an outright lie. It's not unprecedented. Democratic members of Congress aligned with them, having previously refused to extend funding bills when linked to policy demands or when they judged the extension unacceptable. And guess who else has also done it? Republicans typically do it as well when they don't get their way and they feel, they just want to use that. So
you go to a gas station, you give ID. But for voting, they want no voter ID. That's only for one reason, because they cheat. We would pass that.
Look at this. Listen to what he wants.
Many of the states are disasters. But can you imagine when they vote almost unanimously against voter ID? All we want is voter ID. You go to a grocery store, you have to give ID. You go to a gas station, you give ID. But for voting, they want no voter ID. That's only for one reason, because they cheat. We would pass that in 15 minutes. If you don't get it, you'll never pass that. You'll never talk about mail-in ballots. Mail-in ballots make it automatically corrupt. If you have mail-in ballots, automatically it's correct. Even Jimmy Carter, they had.
So let me ask you, who's going to pay for it? Is it the federal government that's going to pay for everyone to have that ID? How much is it going to cost? What ID should it be? What ID is verifiable to Trump? Is it a state ID? Can the state government be the ones to do this? Is Trump going to approve of it? What's going on here? I mean, and then second of all, it's obvious that Trump calls every election a scam, even the ones that he wins. According to Trump, all elections have been scams, right? So, to me, it just kind of seems like if it was a scam, why didn't you demand a recount? Has Trump ever demanded a recount when he's won? No. So it's very likely this is a manufactured issue. So do you want to waste time and energy on a manufactured issue and money possibly? Or do you just say, nah, people don't like this dude and they're going to vote his ass out?
The Carter
And if you do, notice Trump doesn't even have a plan for it. It's a stalling tactic. Trump doesn't even have a plan. If you have a plan, you bring it to Congress to pass. That's what you do. That's the only thing you do. When something is to be law, you go to Congress. When you're not going to Congress, it means you don't want it to be a law.
Mission after he got out of office, and he had a group of very distinguished people, Democrats and Republicans, and they passed. They recommended things take place. It was a long time ago. And they said about mail-in ballots, if there is mail-in ballots, there will definitely be corruption because, they pass through too many hands. I mean, you go in to vote and they want your card. Even me, I went into Palm Beach.
He did a mail-in ballot himself.
You go in to vote, they want your card, you're this, you're that. They say, I'm sorry to do this, sir, but I have to look at your identification. I said, that's all right.
All right. Now, you see, he just manufactured that story. Did Trump vote in the last election? What did they call it? Via mail-in ballot. And if so, which elections? Let me see here. Maybe he did go in. I've heard he's used it before, but let's see here. Because if his residence is in Florida, then doing it from DC is mail-in. Okay, I couldn't find reliable evidence. Okay, Trump voted by mail in any. Okay, they can't find the records publicly available. It's not publicly available. I can check state level. Yes. Let me see. I just want to see what he says to that. But it's been reported widely that Trump has voted in mail-in ballot, and the reason why is because he's made statements. He's made statements before. Let me see here. He hasn't denied it. Has he ever claimed to have used mail-in ballots publicly? Let me see here. Click the like button, y'all. Thanks. I appreciate everybody. Let me see here. Okay. In 2020 during an interviews and rallies, he said he had voted by mail-in Florida previously. There it is. Yeah. So, it's just kind of weird. It's just kind of weird. Let me see. What about the last election? I'm just curious. Obviously, he was probably in Florida the last election since he wasn't the president, but I'm just curious. But there's also local elections too, man. Does he vote in local elections in Florida? How does he do that? Does he go to Florida every time to vote? Okay. They don't have publicly verifiable information. Okay. So what about local elections for Trump? I mean, right. If you're going to challenge the presidential election, you're basically challenging all when you challenge one, essentially. Come on. It's a state thing anyway. It's run by the state. So, all right, now back to Trump. He's used it. So, and he's used it at a time where he won and he didn't challenge the election. So right. There you have it.
I love that. But you're really not going to get away with much.
Let me just get past this.
And the Republicans let them get away with it. Voter ID, they can arrest you. Voter ID, to ask somebody for voter ID. If you ask somebody for voter ID, if you're an official and you say, I'd like to see your voter ID, they can arrest you. Okay?
Yeah, because they have other qualifying things when you walk into different polling stations. Number one, they ask you, where's your last address? They ask you your name. Some might ask you your social security number. They ask you 3 different things so they can triangulate who you are. And one of the questions is, where did you vote? What precinct did you vote in the last election? Or what, they ask you this kind of stuff. And only one name. So if you're answering all the right questions for that name, they cross it out and no one can use that name again. So
they can arrest you.
It doesn't make sense what he's saying, actually.
They want to cheat and they get away with it. And the Republicans let them get away with it. And we won't do that if we have the filibuster. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And we're going to see if we can sway, because I know we have a lot of, not a lot, I'd say half feel this way, maybe a little bit less than half. And it's time to have a really good talk. If I thought that they weren't going.
All right, so enough on the filibuster. Do you think if Trump if the Republicans use the filibuster, do you think Democrats should proceed the same way? If they get rid of the filibuster and vote for it in the Senate, do you think Democrats should do things the same way? If you think Democrats should do things the same way as Republicans regarding the filibuster, and his proposal. That is, if you do it, we're going to do it too. Put a 1 in the chat. If you don't think they should do the same, put a 2 in the chat.
They're not going to be approved. We have one in Los Angeles who's phenomenal, but the senators, the Democrats are, again, they're kamikazes. The Democrats are not going to approve them. Blue slips are a disaster.
Let me see here. There's something.
But when I saw when I saw the 2 senators from Virginia gave him glowing marks, Tim, I said, I had actually one Republican who got 2 great letters, but it turned out that he was a rhino, but that was a nice term for him. Now, he got
all
2
right,
letters.
Trump keeps babbling. So, yeah, he doesn't get to shit fast enough. Right. This is the last news. This is the Supreme Court tariffs.
It's the linchpin of his economic agenda, these tariffs. Now, based on what we've heard, the outlook doesn't seem to be all that great for the president, who earlier this morning called these arguments and the forthcoming decision that they will make in the Supreme Court life or death. We're going to talk about what we've heard so far.
So Trump is framing this as life or death. If he's not given the power to issue unilateral tariffs the way he's been doing it, he considers that death to his presidency.
To start with you, what is your take on this? And again, I know we're kind of in the weeds on tariffs, but I just want to remind our viewers that this is about so much more. This is about presidential power and whether Donald Trump has as much as he thinks he does.
Dan, it's such an important moment for the court and the country. We've had so many rulings by the U.S. Supreme Court in Trump cases over the last 9 months, but they've all been in this frenetic context of fast-moving emergency applications, of quick-hitting, what should the rules be for weeks, for months. This is the first case to get to the court on the permanent question of whether President Trump can do the thing he's doing. And it's a case about how broadly the executive is allowed to interpret a statute that doesn't use the word tariffs, that refers to a national emergency, that was enacted in a context of reining in presidential power after Watergate. It's why this is such a big deal. It has massive political implications because of how central tariffs are to Trump's foreign policy agenda, but it also has massive, what the lawyers would call reining in presidential power after Watergate, because it's such a signal of where it has massive political implications because of how central tariffs that are already on their way to the court.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And Laura,
doctrinal implications, because it's such a signal of where this court is likely to go.
Yeah, release the Epstein files
that are already on their way to the court.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And Laura, the signals,
personally speaking, I see you. Yeah, release the Epstein files, y'all. Hold on.
That we've gotten based on the questions from the justices seem pretty loud and not great for President Trump.
Out of the gate, they were peppering them with questions. They were peppering the argument that suggests that he had this power to do.
Somebody, who is this? If your news comes from her, then you are in trouble. No, my news doesn't come from any particular person. In fact, I don't know if you were here earlier, but most people that listen know that we discuss this all the time. You need to be able to listen to people you agree with and don't agree with without being so partisan that you're blind from hearing what they're saying. So the reason why I say that is because you got to be able to develop individual analytical skills, regardless of who you're listening to, regardless of if it's someone you're agreeing with. You could be in the same party with someone you don't agree with on a particular topic. And so you need to really carry the unbiasedness over to the opposing view and just make sure you're listening and hearing it correctly. Whether you agree on it or not is another thing. And what you draw from it as an individual is another thing. So listening and getting information is not the same thing as drawing a conclusion. And one individual does not override 100 different individuals we've just listened to that agree or disagree on any certain topic. You see what I mean? So let's not narrow down. Let's not make everybody stupid. Everyone's not stupid. We're able to listen to people that we don't agree with and gain information from that's valid or invalid. Even if I don't agree with you, doesn't mean I don't gain information that's valid in hearing you. You see what I mean? What you do with it and what you gain is completely a whole different thing.
Do so, and here's why.
That would be your particular commentary on what someone else has said.
A year or so ago, the court was saying they had a major questions doctrine that they were saying. Essentially, hold on, if it's got huge political or economic significance, you got to go through Congress because we got these.
Okay, so this has implications, not even tariffs. It's just Trump's policy at all. So that's good to know.
Different branches of government that are all co-equal. What Trump is essentially saying is, I have an emergency. It's called a trade deficit. And as a result of that, I need to take action that makes me go around Congress. Well, the other side saying, that's not the emergency. You still got to go through Congress to do so. That's why you're hearing things about delegation. Has Congress given the power of the purse and taxation?
I mean, this is not really up for debate. Congress has the power of the purse. And the only way you can get around it, of course, is in an emergency, right? And that's even limited. How you can get around it is even limited in the Constitution. It's not permanent. It's very specific and granular. You see, it's not even something you can just say, I'm the president now, so I'm going around Congress for my whole presidency. No. And it's not even when it comes to immigration, I'm going around the whole presidency. It's not even that. It's even more detailed than that. It's when, what, why, how. It's very particular. And what exactly is the thing you want to do? you want to achieve here. Not a broad thing, a very, very specific thing within side of a topic, within side of whatever, immigration could be the topic. Okay, immigration is the topic. So what part of the immigration are you talking about? Because immigration is broad, you see. So, I think Trump, either way, I think the Supreme Court, my view on it is the Supreme Court, regardless of what they rule, is corrupt in the U.S. And I don't think it's a Supreme Court that is pro-American and pro-American citizen. I think the Supreme Court is very, very extremely right-wing and doesn't believe in American citizens getting their fair share of their taxes, getting their fair voice in general across the board. I believe this Supreme Court is pretty much elitist that American people have. And when it comes to farmers, just look at what you're witnessing. If the Supreme Court could have shut this asshole down a long time ago, but they kept giving him an excuse, giving him one more opportunity. When do you remember everything that they're discussing about Trump? You have to combine that with the fact that Trump is a felon. So whatever it is he's asking for, he's just asking for it to abuse you. He's not going to use it as it's applied anyway, because the man's a damn felon. You see what I'm saying? His best friend was Jeffrey Epstein. So it doesn't matter what he's talking about. This is who you would be giving the power to. So all this bullshit they've been doing with Trump, it doesn't make sense, because it doesn't change the fact that you're dealing with a criminal that's asking for these extra rights. You're dealing with a criminal that's asking you to sign, a 34-time felon, a person that kept top secret records in it from the White House, from the U.S. government, nuclear secrets in his motherfucking toilet. Like, hello? What part of that did the Supreme Court miss? So they might be able to make a claim that they're attempting to follow the Constitution. Man, I think y'all better read the Constitution, yo, because I ain't buying it at all. This is about some elitist shit. This is about some very extreme ideological shit going on here. And it is not about the American people or the Constitution. They have stretched it, stomped on it, fucked it up so much that the only natural resolution that could come from this would be impeachment, if you're asking me. But let me play a little bit more of this real quick.
And leveraging tariffs back to you in some way, they're saying no. And there was a really interesting one by Gorsuch today, where he essentially was challenging politically the idea, well, hold on, they can give the power back when they think it's no longer an emergency. And he was essentially saying, in what world?
Who the hell? What criminal is going to give you power back? What the hell? Okay, y'all, I'm finished raiding your treasury now. Here, I give it up.
Does Congress cede power and then get to reclaim it when you've got elections that are happening?
And when you have a veto. I mean, when
you get a veto,
and so you'll
right.
need 2/3 supermajorities of both.
The fact that they even accepted this bullshit and didn't shut it down is bullshit. That's a weak Supreme Court right there. They already are doing him way more of a favor than a court should ever do anybody.
Chambers of Congress. What can 2/3 of both chambers agree to right now, other than that maybe today is Wednesday?
Nothing.
Right?
Oh, is there a shutdown?
And then the question is whether that's relevant to what the
Well, so
framers
this is,
intended.
atmospherically, this is what I found most striking about the arguments, which is you don't usually hear the justices, especially
Look, if you have 6 Republican justices and you have 4 Democrat ones, then there you have it. Those are the rulings you're going to get. You're going to get Republican ideological rulings. If you have 5 and 5, that's where they have to negotiate. 6-4 means there doesn't have to be any negotiating on the Supreme Court level. So all you have to have is the mere appearance that you're following the Constitution. Just the appearance is enough. You see, so yeah, in any case, y'all, I hope the American people, and that means y'all in the chat that are American, some of you aren't, I know, but that's cool too. Some folks from other countries listen in, and I appreciate that too. But for my American bros and sisters, mommies, daddies, cousins, and all of that out there, right? Yeah, countrymen, yo, I really hope people understand one thing. It is your goddamn tax money. It is literally your money you work for. It's not their money. It's your money. And the more, hey, Tia, what's up? I see you there. You just getting in. And the more you say that to yourself, it's my goddamn money, the more respect you will have for yourself. If you don't carry that into every meeting, every decision that's being made, period, regardless who the party is or what they're talking about, if you don't say, this is my goddamn money and this shit needs to come back to me and positively affect my life, my community directly, then I don't know what the hell you're paying taxes for, to be honest, some of it can be socialized, but keep in mind, if you might make this comment that I don't want to go into education to make sure everybody gets an education. I don't want to make sure everybody gets universal health care. That's not what my taxes are for. I don't want everybody having child care. What good is that? Well, keep in mind, you already pay for, one of the biggest socialist projects on earth, and that's the U.S. military. So just keep that in mind. You already pay for one of the secondary biggest, another big project, socialist project. That's, Congress, Senate, White House. You already pay for the Supreme Court. That's socialist, right? They're getting your tax. That shit doesn't run on its own. They don't go find a way to raise money independently. No, that's you. 100% taxpayer. U.S. military is 100% subsidized by taxpayers. That's socialized military. So is it bad or is it good? What job should it do? Which jobs or what type of jobs is it good at doing, and which kind of jobs is it bad at doing? Why is it good at doing it for the military and it's not good when doing it for healthcare, elder care, child care? Why is it good when it's for the military and it works excellently and you love doing that, and it's not good when it comes to education? What are you defending? Uneducated people? What are you defending? Sick people? What the fuck? In any case, on that note, y'all, I'm out. I appreciate everybody. Please do me a favor. Click the like button. I need that so much from folks that listen. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed. But I thank you for coming to my channel. And, I'm only here to add some perspective on the conversation, since I'm an American citizen, born and raised in Washington, D.C. Both my family on both sides been in the country since the colonial period. You know what I mean? Before there was something called the USA. Right. And, but I live outside, so I can bring a little bit of dimension to the conversation. And although I have tight bonds in the USA, my family, my friends, and all of that stuff, anyway, that I maintain. You see what I mean? Just like I have tight, deep roots in the United States of America. That's why I'm chiming in on the conversation, because I love my country. But I have some perspective. I also know that what happens in the U.S. has a lot of implications globally. So on that note, I appreciate everybody. I'll be back with y'all in the next 24 hours. Be good and stay positive. Help each other. Help each other. Don't hate each other. Help each other. Think about each other, and think about the fact that a lot of y'all are in the same damn situation. I mean, whoever would have thought we would hear Republicans now saying, wait a second, you mean food stamps and SNAP? SNAP. All right, y'all. Peace, y'all. I appreciate it. Word. Let me know in the chat what city you from, y'all. Be good. I'll see you on the other side. Release the Epstein files. You heard? They want more.
crying babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe, people subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day and every clue. Don't let it go, it's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep. Leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in the way to settle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TV's whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Can you feel it? Nothing can save ya, cause this is the season of funky behavior. I came to relax your mind, you can recline. On what? On this here rhyme. I like the style, I'm staying for a while. It helps me show cats that I'm versatile. I'll touch your dial, turn your frown to a smile. I'll make you feel like you're having a child. So relax and open up, child. I'm about to make you walk what? Pimp style or pimped out style. You don't understand the logic. See, if you don't have it all, I'll take a deposit. I got shit for you, it's alright indeed. It's like going to the garden and planting the seed. It might tickle for a second, but it won't bleed. edutainment. In other words, you could call it bet. What I'm saying